Hi everyone, welcome to Beauty First and 10. I love football and I love makeup and I post weekly about both, so please hit the subscribe button down below. Today we're going to be getting you all ready for Super Bowl Sunday. The game starts at 5 p.m. on CBS and coverage will be all day long. But if you're still getting ready for your Super Bowl party, I have 2 easy crafts for you that you can do today and also 2 food items that you can make on the day of. So we'll cover all of that. In the description down below, I'll have some of the materials and supplies that I used for the crafts and then also the recipes for the food items that we're gonna make. And also I'll have a playlist of all my football videos from the whole year. So if you need to get caught up on what's been happening, who's got what, who won, who didn't win, and who's actually playing in the Super Bowl, I got you. And it'll be in the playlist down below. So we'll go ahead and we'll start with the craft items. So this is my mini Vince Lombardi trophy that I have made. This item, I got the base for it at Dollar Tree. It was this lime green vase that they had, and I just turned that vase upside down. And then the football I actually got at Five Below, and then I used Rust-Oleum's metallic paint, and I covered this. It did need several coats because the football that I got was black in color and it had a lot of like bright lights on it. So I had to cover this like 3 or 4 times. The vase I only had to do 1 time. And then all I did was just glue this with a hot glue gun onto the base of the vase. I originally tried to take an angle like you see in the normal Lombardi trophy, but there's only so much a Dollar Tree vase and a Five Below football will get you. So I wasn't able to do the angle, but I still think it looks cool anyway. Okay, and for our second craft, this one was also super easy. So I have this little candle here and it's got the laces like it's a football. It's also the perfect color of a football. And this is from Target and it was one of their candles that they had, and it has artsy, they had different adjectives on them. And so all I did was flip it around because it was the perfect shade. And then I used old stickers that I had. So when you're looking at stickers, there's those margins that are on the side that also have stick on them, but they're not part of the sticker necessarily. So I just trimmed those edges of those sticker borders so that I could get nice straight lines, and then I just put them on. Normally there would be a lot more laces on a real football, but I think this is really cute. It was easy. This was like a 2-minute craft project and I think it looks adorable. So we'll go ahead and move on to 2 recipes that you can make that are just as easy. Okay, so the first food item we're gonna make is Rice Krispie Treat football jerseys. And this is a great one. It really has high impact, it looks great, and the nice part is you can make red Rice Krispie Treats and it really fits both teams. So what you'll need for this is a Christmas sweater cookie cutter. And I had this in a Christmas sweater cookie box that I had gotten, but you can also get this on Amazon by typing in football jersey cookie cutter or Christmas sweater cookie cutter. Either one of those will come up. So you'll need that. And then you're also gonna need for your Rice Krispie Treats, Rice Krispie cereal or whatever brand you prefer. And then you'll also need a bag of mini marshmallows. This is a really simple recipe. If you've ever made Rice Krispie Treats before, this is all very familiar. So we're gonna start out by melting our butter, and we're gonna melt that until it's completely melted. Okay, so for our butter, we used unsalted sweet cream butter, and we used 3 tablespoons. And you can see now that it's melted in there. So we're gonna add our mini marshmallows. And so we're gonna add 3 cups of mini marshmallows, and you're gonna add those directly into the pan with the melted marshmallows on them. Okay, so that's 3 cups. The recipe calls for 5½ to do a full one. So this will wind up being pretty much a full bag of the mini marshmallows that you're using. So this is 5, and then we'll just use the rest of this for the half. Okay, and then we're just basically gonna mix this up. So you wanna get all of these marshmallows nice and melted down. So we're gonna turn up the heat to medium-high. And we're just gonna keep stirring until these are completely melted. Okay, so our marshmallows are now completely melted. So we're gonna basically take this off of the heat, go ahead and turn our off, and then we're gonna add our red food coloring. So we wanna add enough to make this look like it's nice and red. So we're just gonna add a little bit of this. There we go. All right, oops, that was a lot. All right, so let's see how this coloration looks. I want this to be nice and red and uniform. I didn't have a dropper on my red food coloring, so I apologize. That was kind of a lot that came out, but I got the color I wanted anyway. So you can see that there. It's a nice red color for whichever team you are deciding to support today. The next step is we're gonna add our Rice Krispies into this mixture, and again, we're gonna keep it off of the heat. So we're basically gonna stir this up as we add these Ice Krispies in, and you wanna get that nice red color in there. So you're just gonna have to give a little elbow grease and a little work to get that color mixed in really nicely so you're not seeing any more white in there at all. Okay, so we've mixed this completely, and so you can see we have a nice red mixture. Now I added 6 cups of Rice Krispie treats because I'm going to make a bunch of jerseys, but you can also cut this in half as many mini marshmallows and half as much Rice Krispie cereal if you only want to make a couple. And then we're gonna let this cool just slightly. We don't want it to completely cool, but we just want it to cool enough that we can start working with it. Okay, so our Rice Krispies have cooled a little bit. Again, they're still gonna be hot. You just wanna be able to work with them. So you're basically gonna take your cookie cutter, and then you're gonna basically have your Rice Krispies, and you're gonna mold the Rice Krispies directly into this cookie cutter. And I have down a piece of wax paper. This red color hasn't, completely set yet. So to not stain your cabinets in all ways, shapes, and form, go ahead and throw down some wax paper. And so we're just gonna basically push this into the cookie cutter. And rather than, how you would traditionally do a cookie cutter where you would cut onto a surface, we're basically just making it. You wanna make sure that you get all the lines nicely in place and get that nice and pushed in there. And again, we're gonna separate on this side so that we have some separation so the arms are not attached all the way. And then you're just gonna kind of push a little bit here. Again, keep working it into that center part there. And you don't have to work too fast. You're gonna have a little bit of time with this. And so this is our cookie cutter then. So now we're just gonna kind of push this out from the other side. And again, you wanna be careful because this is still warm and kind of malleable. And so we're gonna put this out there, and there we have a nice cookie cutter. So we'll do the rest. Okay, so this is all of our jerseys now cut out. I had a little bit of extra, so I just made them into tiny little balls that I will be eating later. So the next step for this is we're gonna actually cut it off. So most football players don't wear sweaters, they wear jerseys. So we're gonna cut these off about 3/4 of the way, but we just want them to cool a little bit so it's a nice crisp cut. And then once these are completely cooled, then we're gonna decorate them. So I'm doing 49er jerseys. So I'm using this Wilton Sparkle Gel Gold that I got on Amazon, 1-day shipping, just in case you were wondering. And we're gonna decorate. So we're gonna cut out basically the top, and then we're gonna put some numbers on here of some notable players. And then we'll do a little bit of trim with this as well. Okay, so this is what they look like. So to give you a little bit of some help, when you're putting these into the mold, the cookie cutter mold, if your Rice Krispies are getting too hard too fast and it's not easy to work with them, you can do one of two things. I kept mine in the original pot, so even though it was off heat, the surface was still warm and it kept my Rice Krispies nice and gooey so that I could push it into the mold. If it gets too warm, you can also put it in the microwave for like 5 or 10 seconds. You don't want to put it in there very long, otherwise you'll burn it. And that just gets it back to kind of that malleable state where you're able to put it in. Same thing with the arms. You want them to be cool, but you don't want them to be hard. So if you're going ahead and you're, trimming these and you get to one and you're like, oh, this one got really hard, then you can stick the whole jersey in the microwave again for like 5 or 10 seconds. And then it'll go back to kind of that chewy filling state where you can kind of push and match these up with each other. So this is kind of the first one we did. Of course, it's going to be Brock Purdy. So you can see I just used that icing, and I did some trim on the top there and then also on the sides, and then of course had his number. So I'll do a couple more of these. Okay, so that's all the main numbers for the starters. So obviously we have Brock Purdy and George Kittle and Warner, Trent Williams, Chase Young, Nick Bosa. So most of the 49ers starters. And so I'll kind of show you that. This one's my 12th man one. So you can see it shows up better from up close. Obviously the gold on top of the red is not super impactful. I've done these for the Philadelphia Eagles before, and I had green with black. Obviously that stands out a little bit better. If you wanted to better delineate this, you could come back with some white icing and actually outline these to see them better. So let's see them in their final state. Okay, so this is the final result. So right, nice, easy. You're just essentially making Rice Krispie treats. If things kind of go haywire, you can just form them into a ball. So I made some of these balls with some of the extra that I had. So you can just do that and then sprinkle it with some gold sprinkles and just call it done. But I think these look really great. So have fun. Okay, the next recipe we're gonna make is a peanut butter dip with pretzels. So again, I'll have all of the recipe measurements and all of that in the description box, but we're gonna add a little bit of butter here. So this is 1/4 teaspoon of butter. And then we're gonna add 4 ounces of cream cheese, and you want these to be softened. And then we have 1 cup of peanut butter. It's not low in calories, just in case anybody was wondering. I plan to have a vegetable dip as well. Okay, and then because we had unsalted butter, I'm gonna add 1/4 teaspoon of salt to this mixture as well. And then we're gonna mix this up and get it nice and creamy before we move on to our vanilla extract and our powdered sugar. Okay, so now we're gonna add in our vanilla, and this is 1/2 teaspoon. And then we're gonna mix this some more before we move on to the powdered sugar. Okay, now we're gonna add our powdered sugar, and we're gonna do this 1/2 cup at a time. So we have 1.5 cups in here. So we're gonna add a little bit and then mix. And you can go up to 2 cups if you want a firmer mixture to be present. I usually just need a 1.5. Okay, a little bit more. Just stop short of the full 1.5 cups. And we're gonna scrape down the sides a little bit here before we add that last little bit of powdered sugar. This is already becoming more firm. Okay, so now we're ready to turn this out onto our surface so that we can shape it into the football shape. Okay, so now we're gonna turn this out. So I have a pan, so it'll catch some of the sprinkles we're gonna put on in a little bit. And then some parchment paper, you can use wax paper. And we're just gonna kind of dump this out and then use our hands to make this in the shape of a football. So get this all out here, and then we'll start molding away. Okay, so that's a nice shape for our football. And now we're gonna add our sprinkles to this. So this is where the pan comes in helpful to catch those sprinkles. Okay, and then as you put the sprinkles in, you're gonna have to push in the sprinkles as well to make sure that you have a nice even coating, especially when you get to the sides. So when I'm doing the sides, I kind of use the paper to get me pretty good even coverage on these. So just have that and then kind of push that in, move those sprinkles down. Okay, so we have this pretty well covered in sprinkles, so I'm just gonna clean this up before we put the laces on and get this all set up. Okay, so we've moved this onto a plate. Now you don't remove the wax paper completely, you just trim around it or kind of lift up and cut. You're gonna have pretzels or strawberries or whatever your choice is, graham crackers around this. You won't really see the edges. Believe me, nobody ever finished this dip so far that I've been serving it. And so now we're gonna pipe on the laces. So I just took a little of this whipped white fluffy frosting from Betty Crocker, and then I snipped the end of a bag, and then I just kind of poured it in here. It doesn't need to be exact, we're just trying to make a straight line. So we'll pipe this on. And then we'll do the laces. Okay, and there we have it. So you've got your laces, you've got your thing, and then we're just gonna surround this with some pretzels and some strawberries, and then it's good to go. Okay, so here we have the finished product. So we did some pretzels around here, we did strawberries here. Any leftover dip you should cover and keep in the refrigerator, but otherwise it's good to go. Thanks for joining me here on Beauty First and 10 for some craft projects and some food projects, and I hope everybody has a great Super Bowl. Don't forget to subscribe down below and also like and share this video, and I hope everybody has a great Super Bowl and go 49ers.